What's up, YouTube? It's your boy DR2727. Shout out to my Transformers collectors, 112 scale collectors, Mezco collectors, Transformer Legends scale collectors, whatever you collect, shout out to you. And this month's video for June 2020 is something I normally don't do. It's a mini review, and this review, or quote unquote mini review, is gonna lead into a bigger topic that we'll address later in the video. And starting off, you can see a scale comparison. We got Fans Toys Jabber and we got X Transbots Willie. And they are about probably like a head taller than Fans Toys Jabber, a head and a half taller than Jabby. And you can see Jabber, and they're significantly taller than Willie. And before we get to it, what a mini review is why you can see more of the comparison or the scale comparison. What a mini review is because these figures are essentially the same mold as the Red Gar and the other Junkion. We're not going to talk about articulation. We're not going to talk about transformation. We're just going to kind of talk about the structural differences between the version 1.0 of the Junkions, which is Red Gar, and the other Junkion. And I'll call these version 2.0 for the sake of this quote unquote review. We're going to kind of talk about the structural differences, and we're going to talk about the aesthetic differences. And it's going to lead us down another conversation about obscure characters. So let's keep going. As you can see, comparisons. So let's move these out the way. And let's bring this guy in. We'll do. And just to make it simple, for comparison, we'll move this one out the way for now. And we'll just come back. Because they both are the same. So just give me 1 second. Put this up here. And so, first and foremost, there's several differences between these. And some of the stuff has been retooled. Don't know why, but it's been retooled and some changes. So the first change and the most noticeable change, if you are a KFC fan, is they got away with KFC's hands. And I'm not a KFC hands person. I think the juice isn't worth the squeeze with them. They're fiddly. They get in the way more than they, change appearance of a figure, and whatever emotive things you can get away with this figure is the inconvenience of them trumps whatever cool poses you can get into them with. So what they did with this figure now is they went with, the thumb is still spindly because it's on a ball peg with a hinge, but they made the trigger fingers. They molded the trigger finger on its own articulated, and it's only articulated at the base, and they molded the other 3 fingers together. So you get much more of a solid hand and finger, and they don't get in the way as much. And I think I don't know if they're going to use this more going forward. I actually hope they do. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of their hands. If you are, you win. But anyway, that's the biggest change I've noticed, because they were known for their hands. They actually sold their hands as a side, as one of their first third-party officers. So that's the first change I've noticed. The second change I've noticed is these spiky bits on 1.0 version were soft plastic or soft rubber. These are plastic. They're still flexible, but they aren't as flexible as these. These feel like squishy. These are still hard, but they have some flexibility to them. So that's kind of the second biggest thing. Also, the other things about it are in transformation mode, but first and foremost is that when you transform it now, whereas this version 1.0, you use like these struts, and these are just pegged onto the back, but you use these struts to kind of clamp the front tire in. With version 2.0, when you fold the hands up to transform them, the wheels are pegged into the actual arm, into the bicep area, or the forearm area, excuse me. So there's no more struts. You actually now tab in the wheel to the bicep in transformation mode. Also, the legs. If you look on version 1.0, it's a solid piece of plastic. It doesn't have any transformation associated with it. But in motorcycle mode, these now transform and become the space for your foot pedals, and just if you want to prop a figure up on it. So they have a certain transformation to it. It's simple. You just fold this part out, fold this down, and that's the transformation for it. Don't know why X Transbots made that change, but they did make that change. So those are the changes, the main changes I see between version 1.0 and 2.0. They pretty much they have all the same hardware, same articulation, minus the hands, of course. So it's really nothing more to be said about that. I think that the plastic on version 1.0 feels more dense, for lack of a better term. Whereas, and I'm feeling the other one too. The plastic on the newer version feels a little cheaper. Like when you touch it, you'll feel like noticeably cheaper. And then when I went back and touched, I was like, yeah, it is a difference. So let's get this guy out the way. We talked about the differences. I mean, height wise and everything, they're the same. Like I say, just minimal changes, primarily the hands and the soft plastic spikes. So let's actually, we won't need to bring this in. Let's talk about each one individually. As you can see, these are the accessories. It's this gun here, silver paint. KFC, they did it with all of them. Good gun, looks good, sculpt is good. This is supposed to be the net. If you looked at the promotional pictures, the one that they caught Hot Rod in the movie, and it's actually a really good material. It's actually wired. It's actually really good. It's all wired. It's mesh. It's actually really good. Good job on them. Well done. It's actually really, really good. Very impressed with it, honestly. And it, of course, the tire. So you got a tire on the front, a tire on the back, and the spikes. So this is a new. I don't think this came with the original. This spike for the back of the tire. Of course, we talked about these spikes. These are accessories. And the shoulder pads, these are accessories. So it's just different sculpt and kind of the same concept that you saw from the 1.0. I don't think Red Guard came with shoulder pads. Actually, I know he didn't come with shoulder pads. So pretty much that is it. And we can talk about kind of stylings on it. The paint is pretty much the same mold as Red Guard. The one thing I will notice is that when you see this kind of gunmetal paint right here, it's actually a metallic paint. So it pops really well. And it's a weird contrast because just like Red Guard and Junkion 1.0, like the orange and the red doesn't have a finish to it. Everything pretty much is minus the die-cast thighs, minus the die-cast pieces. Everything else is just plastic and some paint accents. So for this, it has, the orange paint accent on the shoulder pad accessories and the tan paint accents on it. The red paint, the orange paint, the red eyes. Where they put paint makes sense. It just doesn't stand out because it's a flat paint and a flat plastic. This desperately needs a finish. So I think that this falls short of premium just because it doesn't have a finish, but it's structurally a really good, well done toy. Like, I don't have any problems with it structurally. But side note, I forgot to say the name. This is their Castoff. Yeah, this is KFC's Castoff. So just a Junkion. And so we're going to get to the other one. This one is scraps. And this one I have a much bigger problem with for several reasons. One, here's the gun. The gun looks too big for the figure. Like, I don't know what they were trying to do, but it looks extremely too big for the figure. It has different paint on it. So if you look at that, then you look at that. Let's compare both of these. So if you see, the figures are the same size, but one has a huge gun and the other one has kind of a normal size gun, which, makes no sense to me. But this is it. This is the accessory that came with it. It also came with this chain thing. This axe, chain axe, is movable at pretty much the 4 hinges right here. And again, this sums up basically this whole set, or this whole X Transpose Junkion set. Really well done, really thoughtful, but it's not premium. They should have made this a real metal chain because this comes across as kiddie, or they should have added chrome paint to it. Just plastic on top of plastic, it comes across as childish. And it's a really thoughtful accessory, but it misses the mark because of how it displays. And it's well built. So because it doesn't have any paint in the finish or anything else, it comes across less than what it is. And that's kind of for the set in general. And my biggest problem with this is there are a lot of crazy, weird decisions. I'm not going to say bad. Weird decisions with this. And it wasn't executed well. One, we talked about the gun. I think that's not a good decision. These mirrors here are soft plastic. Mine came Mine came detached during shipping, and when I got out the box, this one was out, and it took a good 40 minutes to put it back in. It's really hard because it's a really small, thin piece of rubber, and it's very fragile. So if it happens to you, be patient, take your time, and handle it with kid gloves because it's really thin rubber. And the next part about this that bothers me, and the other one all of them have this problem, but because they're using yellow, it sticks out more. Also, here are the shoulder accessories too. These slide up and down. So the biggest problem with this and what makes it less is that they're yellow. The yellow without paint looks bad. It looks bad. It's flat. It's just flat plastic. And when you have even more of this gunmetal than you did on the other figure, the Castoff figure, it stands out. And now the yellow just look plain. It looks chuggish. It looks like something Hasbro would do for the main line. It doesn't look MP. It doesn't look premium. It's just not a good look. And I forgot to turn both of these. They're all the same on the back. So, just different color. This one doesn't have the same paint apps right here. And of course the different styles. But if they would have gave it a finish, like they gave a finish to this, or they gave a finish to, or they used a premium paint like they did for this gunmetal, this thing would wow. All of them would wow. And unlike 1.0, that has the chrome that makes you be like, okay, this can be a little premium. This is just flat plastic on flat plastic on flat plastic on flat plastic, which just makes it less than what it is. These are built really well. They just aren't deco, and they don't present as well as they're made. That's probably the best way to say it, because they're made really well. They just don't present as well. I actually like the changes from the soft bits to the harder bits. I actually like the hands, because instead of 10 fingers being a problem, now you only got 2 fingers to worry about being a problem. So actually, the changes they made, I like. I just don't think they saw this all the way through. They had the mold, they used the mold, and I think that my biggest issue with it is that they should have added a finish with it. So as I bring this guy back in, I guess the $1 million question is, do I recommend them? Do I recommend them? I 100% recommend them. And this leads to our discussion topic. We need more obscure characters in the MP line. Bravo to KFC X-Trans Battle. I think Keith is figuring it out. The way to survive in this masterpiece game as we're winding down is by doing obscure characters, doing, characters people never thought they would get. We're already down this path of Transformers masterpiece line. Pretty much all the main second tier guys, third tier guys have been done. I mean, we got a Sandstorm, we got an Octane, we got Pipes, we got Swerve, we got Tailgate. And those Pipe, Swerve, and Tailgate specifically characters who probably only had 30 seconds of screen time. And we have MP versions of those. So if we can have MP versions of those, why can't we have MP versions of background fodder? I'm all for this. I'm all for KFC doing the Junkions. I'm all for them doing the Quintessons, the Executioners. I would love to see, and not just them. I think that for third party, the Bad Cubes of the world, the Lemon Trees who are trying to get the Bad Cubes of the world, the DX9, kind of the companies that are fading away. I think that this is how you stay relevant and stay in the game until you get to that next wave, which is Beast Wars. And it's coming up sooner than you think. But until you can get to that next wave of toys, this is how you stay in the game. You do things like this. You do things like the Quintessons, the Junkions. If you're a new company like Lemon Tree, you're trying to do a sound wave when there are 20 different movie sound waves from the Bumblebee movie already coming. You're trying to do an Optimus Prime. You're trying to do these one-off, that shockwave that turns into, the art. It's a cool thing to do, but where is that Slug Slinger? Where is that Punch Counterpunch? Where is that the Autobot clones, the Decepticon clones, Pounce and Wingspan, Runabout, Run 'em Up? Those are the things that will ensure you succeed until the next wave of stuff is ready. So while the big boys are tackling some of the still G1, and before they get to that next version of, you see Unique Toys doing it now. Unique Toys is doing the movie stuff. You see Transform Element is doing the Legend Scale Beast Wars stuff, which I think is a very smart move. Whatever you do and whatever scale you're in, I'm just talking MP because that's primarily what I collect. If you are a company trying to stay around or make a name for yourself, obscure is the way to go. regardless of scale, whether it's legend scale, whether it's MP scale. Those are the two scales people care about right now. Those are the two scales people care about right now, by and large, and third party. So if you are going to stay in this game, you need to move differently. You need to move unique. And I'll give you a perfect example. There's literally a mom and pop company called Rising Force who are trying to do a masterpiece Minosaur. Literally a husband and wife. They started this, like, I remember seeing the prototype maybe like 3 years ago. Fast forward to now, we have X Transbots almost finished theirs. We got DX9 almost finished theirs. We got Fans Toys in the middle of theirs. That group of people, that Rising Force company, will never see the light of day for that Minosaur. And if they do, they're going to basically sell it at even or take a huge loss. What they should have been doing is doing background Junkions, doing a Pounce and the Wingspan, doing a Quintesson Executioner, doing Sharkticons, doing those archery characters. What was his name in the Gamble episode with Smokescreen? Death Wish or Deathlock, the bounty hunter. Coming back to the leader ones, the Chromiums and Moon Racers. Those are the characters that ensure that you will succeed, because I guarantee you this. The group that's buying this, and even if you do Legend Scale, there are way more people who are going to buy that than going to buy Beast Wars when, pretty much all the major players are doing Beast Wars. There are plenty of people who are you're going to be sustained off of those people who just holistically want something new, especially in this COVID world where we've learned to value our collections and we don't know when the next thing is coming out. You will survive much better by producing something that people can be like, oh, wow, I never thought it would be, as opposed to producing the fifth or fourth or third or sixth iteration of a Springer or something or a Minosaur or something like that. Anyway, those are my thoughts. These actually, I recommend them even though they're probably B-, C+ toys. And my main problem with them is just presentation. They don't present like MPs. But I recommend them because I think we need obscure characters, not just in MP, in Legend Scale, because New Age, Magic Square, Transform Element, all of them are starting to get to these new main characters. You need Junkions for a Legend Scale. You need a Sandstorm for a Legend Scale. Mech Fans Toys, they're doing a lot of stuff. You need Quintessons for a Legend Scale. So it's not just MP scale. You're going to need these obscure characters in MP and Legend Scale if you want to survive during this time. Thank you, guys. Hope it made sense. Remember, I do a monthly video. Click subscribe. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Again, thank you, guys. Stay safe. Stay happy.